I've been asked by somebody if I could show them how to make a stitching pattern for hat patches. So there are a few ways we can go about doing this, and I'll show the easiest ones first with all the square shapes and straight lines. And one of the ways to do it is if we grab a straight line and we work out what size our stitching is going to be. We'll do it on this square one first. And let's say if we want our stitching to be 5mm long, we'll make it 5mm. And we can see we've got a tiny little stitch there. Now, what we can now do is open up our grid array, and we'll just choose one row and as many columns as we'd like for the stitches. So let's do, well, we can only go up to 20 with that. And we've also got to decide our spacing in between the stitches. So if we can zoom in there, and if we want our spacing to be a bit bigger, we just add however millimeters between each one we want. I think that's a good size for this demonstration. So we'll click done on that. And we can see we've now got our stitches there. So now if we move this into place where we want it, so let's say we want it there. We've got too many across there, but that's fine because we can then ungroup it. And we can grab these last ones here. And we'll hold shift and grab that one as well. And just move it out of the way. And now what we can do with the rest of these, it's going to be hard to group them together again. So we'll just move the square out of the way. And we'll highlight them and group them all together again. Then we can put our square back. Now what we can do is grab our stitches and we can make a copy of them. Oops, wrong thing. And move one lot down the bottom. And line them up. Then make another copy, and with that copy we can then turn that to a 90-degree angle and move that along the side. Oops. And put that where we want it. And again, we'll have to ungroup it and remove some of the stitches. So we'll grab these last three, hold shift and highlight that last one and move it out of the way. Grab all the stitches, group them together again. I'm pretty sure we can probably figure out a better way of doing this, but for the purpose of this exercise, grab them, make a copy of them, and move them over to there. And there we have stitches for our square. Now the principle is the same for pretty much every other shape. Now what I might do is just try, if we go into the layers panel, let's lock that. We've got that rectangle locked now, and we can see we can grab other things in there without having the rectangle move. So we'll do another one. We'll just group that all together. And if we unlock that rectangle again, we can now move the whole lot out of the way. So let's try this another way. We won't worry about the diamond because you get the idea of it. We'll try this with the square, and we'll do this another way. But what we'll do this time, let's say you don't want little stitches like that and you want larger stitches. You can either, well, what we can do is make a copy of that, and we can change the size to 3mm high, and let's make it 5mm wide. Let's say you want a stitch that looks a little bit like that. Let's actually make the corners a little bit heavier. Oh, sorry. No, can't make the corners heavier on that. Okay, so if we did that with a rectangle, let's get a rectangle. We can make the corners different on that. So we'll go, let's go 2mm high and 5mm wide, and we'll put a 3 degree on the corners. There we go. So let's say you want your stitch to look like that. We'll get rid of that other one. So what we can do again here is we can grab the grid array tool, just do one row, and let's do 20 columns, and a spacing of let's do 3mm for this one, and we're done. Now again, what we can do is move our stitching where we want it, and we'll lock our square. So we don't have to worry about that moving. And we can grab these, ungroup them, and we'll just grab those last few that are in the way. And it's not letting me do it. There we go. And we'll grab these and group them again, and we'll center them up. If we highlight them both and we go horizontal align center, Sorry, that's not doing it because the square's locked. So we'll unlock the square again for a second. Okay, we grab both of them and horizontal align center. That puts them in the center. Now we can grab a copy of them, move it down to the bottom, and see how we've got all the lines there, they're all lined up. And the same, we can copy again. We'll lock that square so we don't have any issues. Grab this copy of these, make them 90 degrees, put them in the edge, copy, put them in the edge. Right, we've got all them where we want them, but we've got a couple of gaps there. So what we can do here is grab two of these, move them up into place, and we'll zoom in a bit. Two's too many, so we'll move that one out of the way, grab that one and put it there. And we can do the same with the other corners. Put that one down there. Make a copy of that. Put that one down there. Make a copy of that. Make sure when you're grabbing things that are small that you've got all 4 arrows showing, because if you've just got 2 arrows showing, that's going to change the shape of it. See, we try to move it and it changes the shape of it. So if we have all 4 arrows showing, it will move easily and stay in shape. Right, so there's our square one done, all ready to go. And we will unlock that square again, highlight them all, move them out of the way. Now another one that we've got is a circle. Now we can go the same way again with the circle, with which style of stitch we want. We'll make this circle an even 100 millimeters. And what we will do is grab our stitch, or create our stitch. And again, we'll make it 5 millimeters. And once we've got our stitch, we can then put it up the top in position where we want it on the outside of our patch. So if we want it a little further down, we can move it a little further down, or if we want it a little closer to the edge, we move it a little closer to the edge. Now that we've got that stitch in the spot where we want it, we've got to make more stitches all the way around the edge. We can do this with the circular array tool. So if we click on the circular array tool, and we see that we've got a little center point that's been brought up here, and we can see all of our stitches that have been recreated around the outside. So we've got 8 stitches, and this is the X and Y axis points of where the center point is. Now what we can do is we can grab that center point and we can move it into the center of our circle. And it brings all of our stitches, our 8 stitches around the edge. And all we've got to do now is increase the amount of stitches to what we want. And if we put 20 stitches around there, this 18 here represents how many spaces there are. So there's a stitch and a space, a stitch and a space. So we've got 20 stitches and 18 spaces. Now if you're happy with that, you can leave it like that. If you want more stitches, let's make it 30 stitches. We can increase it to 30 stitches. The other thing you can do with this circular array tool is if you're working with another something else other than a stitch and you want them to be facing a different way, this rotate objects is ticked. If we untick that, it will change the rotation of them. So if you're making something with a pattern and you don't want the pattern to be rotated, you can untick that and it will make them all the same way. But for this, we want it ticked. Also, if you want to make this so you can edit it after you've clicked done. So when you click done, that's it, it's then finished. And if you want to change it, you can't, you have to start from scratch. But if you have an idea that you might want to edit it afterwards, you can click on the create an array that can be edited later. And then if you do that, once you click done, you can then go back into the circular array and re-edit everything that you've done. So that's a good point. So there's our circular one, and if we highlight them both and click on group, we've now got them together. Now another thing we can do, if you don't want to use the circular array, and if you want a different stitch, you can actually use the text tool. So if we open up a text and just press our dash key on next to the 0 on the keyboard, we can get a whole heap of dashes. And we can do as many as we want. If we like, if we want, we can change the height of them. That's 1.78. So let's make the height 2 millimeters for the stitches, and it'll bring them apart a bit. And what we can do now, we've got two choices here. We can use this little window on the side to turn these stitches into a circle to fit into our circle. Now you see we've got too many of them in there, but that's easily fixed, because what we can now do is double click on it, and if we click delete, we've deleted one of our stitches. So now we can grab our little window again and close it up, and we're still not right. So we'll click on it again and delete another stitch. Then we'll grab our window again and move it in a bit closer. And now we've got our stitches inside, but they're not lined up. So we can highlight the whole thing, go up to align and click on align center. And then we have our stitches in the center. This is a really easy way of doing it if you don't want to work with the circular array tool. You can also, if you really wanted to, because this is not a shape, it's a text mark, we can actually add text to path. I don't know if it's really necessary doing that. I'll show you how we do it, just so you can have a look. Let's open that up to a straight line again. And what we'll do, because we're adding text to path, we want it on the inside of this circle. So, and the text to path always goes on the outside. I've had it go on the inside a couple of times, but I've never been able to replicate that, so I don't know how that works. But what we'll do is we'll do an internal offset of this circle, and we'll do it 5 mil. And now what we'll do is grab our text dashes, hold the shift key and hold our middle circle. Then we right click and click on attach text to path. And there you go, it's done it into the middle, which is very weird. It's only ever done that a few times for me, but most of the time it does it to the outside. So if we undo that and we click on it again, actually let's move that out of the way. So we click on it again, hold shift, click on the circle. I see, it's grabbed both of those circles, that's why. If we add text to path now, it still goes on the inside. So if we click on that, let's delete that circle, click on that circle and click add text to path, it goes on the outside. So yeah, there's a lot of playing around with that one you can do, but to me it's far better just grabbing the little window and turning it around. So there's a few different shapes that you can do with your stitches. Hope this helps you work out what you're going to do. And if you need any other information on things, you want me to make a video on something, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do for you. Thanks for watching.